I know a lot of you 25-year-old, 20-year-old, 19, 18-year-olds are gonna be in my comment section saying the same dumb shit as you usually say, that I'm an old head and that's all I do is hate and blah 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 blah, right? Straight capping. I'ma use your slang. You straight capping. Ain't nobody hating on your damn generation. You just not. You understand? But I mean, I gotta call a spade a spade. At the end of the day, your generation of rappers need to take their asses back to school. That plain and simple. Like, I hate to pull rank, you know what I'm saying, and be on some, well, you know, in the 90s, and you know, us older cats and blah, 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 but it's just the truth. Like, the average rapper in the 90s knew a little something about a lot. You understand? Like, we were very intelligent. We were able to articulate ourselves in a way where people appreciated a rapper's point of view. The reason why you rappers out there are on these, you know, platforms and being interviewed and asked certain questions, in particular about politics and, you know, your view around about the world, is because of my generation of rappers. Because it was actually, at one point in time in hip hop, it was actually cool, like really, really cool to be intelligent. And it was really stupid. Like, people looked at you as being a cornball if you didn't read or you weren't intelligent. You were irrelevant. Yo, I just saw this joint, right, that they did years ago. You know what I'm saying? It was J. Rue the Damager, Lauryn Hill. They were on a video box, and they were going back and forth about, you know, the powers that be, and just in general what's going on in the neighborhood and in the black neighborhoods, that is, and how we should tackle it. And the shit that they were saying, and the people that was there was like Method Man. If I'm not mistaken, I think Ja Rule was there. Mike Geronimo was there. No, it wasn't Ja Rule, it was Irv Gotti. It was a couple of rappers that was there. And like, our rappers had something to say back then. We were talking about some of everything. Like, an average rap album from a rapper, coming from a rapper in the 90s, had, you know, views on politics, the war on drugs, women, you know, some of everything. It wasn't just like one specific thing. Even NWA, like, was talking about something in their albums. Nowadays, you put a goddamn microphone in front of a rapper, he's gonna embarrass himself as well as the race, the black race, that is. That plain and simple. And it's so ironic that our rappers such as Nas, 50 Cent, Jay-Z, and the likes dropped out of high school. But they still managed to have knowledge of self. Now, that knowledge of self might have been knowledge of self as far as knowing who and what you are as a black man, or knowledge of self meaning that you just read up on knowledge, period, and you wanted to educate yourself. I don't see that in 2021. I just don't. I see a bunch of rappers that definitely need to go back to school. Yeah, true indeed, here and there I may stutter, I may mispronounce a word, but I'm definitely able to articulate myself very well, to the point where I have subscribers and I have people such as yourself looking at my videos. But I know that, let's say for example, how long could I listen to an interview from Spot 'em Got 'em before I cut it off? I probably could go, if it's, let's say for example, if it's one of his interviews is 20 minutes long and he's saying funny shit, I could probably go for a good 12 minutes. But if he just saying some off the wall, like they asking him serious questions and he just don't know the answers, probably about 4 to 5 minutes, if that. Like, I'm just being real. Like, if there were any rappers that I would definitely say, you need to take your black ass back to school, it will be this generation of rappers. Definitely. Like, I'm saying to myself, like, these dudes had to have dropped out of school like in the 3rd grade. That plain and simple, because it seems as though that they don't, they're limited. Like, they only have a limited amount of words that they can use. Their vocabulary is very limited. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, when you hear them talk, it's just like, oh man, please, no, don't ask that man that. Don't, you know he don't know. And it's just so disrespectful to hip hop, period. It really is. You understand? Like, I mean, man, we went from Brand Nubians, KRS One, You Must Know, Edutainment. That's what he said. Edutainment. We went from Stop the Violence, Self-Destruction, MC Lyte, Queen Latifah, Moni Love, you know, the Native Tongues, the Tribe Called Quest, Wu-Tang, Nas, you know, J. Rue the Damager, you know, the list goes on of how many highly educated people we had in the hip hop industry. And now it seems as though we don't have any left. I mean, with the exception of like J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar and Joey Badass. But that's pretty much it. I mean, everybody else is just basically stupid. Plain and simple. And it's just like, yo, I just think that as far as dealing with our culture, we have taken things too far without rules and regulations. Period. Like, and I had this debate with this dude, because he's like trying to tell me that it's not the same. Let me tell you something. Regardless of what occupation you are, regardless of what occupation it is, right? If it pays, it pays. So I can sit back and say, a rapper, if you rap, you get paid for it. That's an occupation. That's a job. That's a career. You can actually have a career as a rapper. So it is the same thing as a doctor. You see what I'm saying? But the reason why we don't rate it the same is because, for one, we don't think our culture is that important enough as a doctor is. You see what I'm saying? But it's the same thing. We should have had everyone that wanted to be a rapper go to a HBCU college, or we should have created a separate college, 4-year college, where you had to go into this hip hop college in order to be a rapper. Period. There should be some type of rules and regulations to this, because the thing of it is that you all are ruining our culture. Your generation of rappers are ruining it. It is, after this generation, rap will never exist anymore. That plain and simple. And I mean, definitely you all are ruining it, but at the same time, the white man is doing it too, because he is putting that battery he's putting that battery in your back. He's the machine. He's the man behind the curtain. He's the one that's financing your rap career. So he's responsible for songs like Beatbox on the radio for millions to hear. You couldn't do that without him. You understand? Now, I'm not trying to pick on Spot Ghana. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, do I want him to be my son's role model? Hell no. If my daughter brought his ass home and said that was my boyfriend, I would be like, okay, you could take him and you can get the fuck out. That plain and simple. Because there's a difference between like you being young and you trying to find yourself. I get that. But when you get to the point where you tat your whole goddamn body up, that's a problem. You know what's so funny? I can't talk about his hair because I got, dreads or whatever. But at the end of the day, I really don't have a problem too much with his hair. It's the whole thing, like, if he decided that he wanted to get a job, you can cut your hair, but those tats you can't take off. And if you can, you'll be in pain forever because that's gonna take a lot. I think it's like laser surgery where they like just kind of like tear the epidermis of the skin, the first layer of it. It's gonna be painful. But these rappers these days, like I have to like be the person that I am, because we gotta tell y'all that this is unacceptable in the hip hop culture. Like, yo, when I was coming up, I used to look up to my rappers and I looked at them as being superheroes. True indeed, they weren't perfect. True indeed, hip hop had some of the shit, the bullshit that it has now. It had it back then, but it wasn't as much as it is now than it was back then. And that's the point that I'm trying to make to you. You understand? I hear a lot of comments in the comment section when I do videos on hip hop and I talk about rap and all of that. Young people will be quick to say, well, you did that and y'all did that and this and that and so forth. And Snoop talk about this and talk that, and y'all talk about drugs, y'all talk about sex, money, and all of that. Yes, we did, but there was a what? Mayat. Balancement. There was a balancement. And this is something that doesn't exist in the hip hop culture anymore. It's not balanced at all. And I don't want to hear that bullshit about you just not searching around. There is balancement because you just got to search for it. I'm talking about mainstream. There's no balancement, and you know it. You know it. You know how long it took me to find rappers such as your Pro Era, Capital Steez, and Joey Badasses. You know how long it took me to like dig to find people such as that group and those specific rappers. It took me a minute. Like I just bumped into them. So it's not like that easy to go on the internet and find groups such as your Joey Badasses and your Pro Eras. It's just not that easy. And at the end of the day, like, don't you want those people that are on the internet that make good music, don't you want them to be mainstream? Don't you want everybody to hear their music so there could be some type of balancement to this shit? Because it is horrible. It's horrible. I don't care what you all say. It's just horrible. I'm not here to knock the youth. I'm just telling you, the youth, you young, men and women, that y'all can do better. Y'all can do better. When I first heard A$AP Rocky, Pretty Ricky didn't like it, because he sounded like, the Houston rappers, and A$AP Rocky was in New York. From New York or whatever. When I first heard it, I was like, I told Pretty Ricky, I was like, yo, man, I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. I really like it. You understand? So it's not like, the point that I'm making to you is that it's not like when I hear something new that's not like what I'm usually or typically used to hearing, that I automatically don't like. It's not that. It's a lot of you rappers, your generation of rappers, are just horrible. Period. Whether they mumble rapping, whether they singing, or whatever they doing, their poor choice of beats is just horrible. So it's not like, oh, I'm old school and I can't. My ears haven't evolved. No, I know good music when I hear it. I'm gonna tell you this. When Young Thug first came out, right? I was like, I prejudged him. I'm like, yo, he got on skirts. See, that's some feminization, this and that, so forth, right? And then I started listening to his music, and I was like, yo, this dude is kind of nice with it. Straight up. Lil Baby, DaBaby, rappers like them, they're good at what they do, and I have to give them their props. Future, I really don't like Future because of, his lyrics and him talking about drugs, but the man makes some banging ass songs. Drake, need I say more? So you can't tell me, oh yeah, you can't run that bullshit in the comment section. Oh yeah, you ain't nothing but an old head and you just hate the youth and this and that. I just mentioned a bunch of dudes that's just coming up in this generation that I like, that make good music. Period. So it's not a thing of, oh, I just don't want to see hip hop evolve or change. No, I want to see it change and evolve. But I want it to change and evolve to something bigger and better, not worse. And that's my point. Y'all motherfuckers need to take your asses back to school. You don't need to be rapping. For real. It's that plain and simple. It's obvious that y'all don't know your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3s. So some of y'all, yeah, I know you 18, 19, 20 years old, but some of you all need to go to the dollar store. If you don't want to go back to school, go to the dollar store, get you some ABC books, 1, 2, 3 books, get you some building blocks. You understand? Learn your colors. You know what I'm saying? If you got to get your mother because I do that with my children. If you got to get your moms or your girlfriend or your wife or whomever to like take for example, you know, to put like cue cards and put stickers on the cue cards. Like say for example, this is a wall right here, and you know you gotta have it spelled, you know, WALL, and put on the cue card spell wall and stick it on the wall. If you gotta do that, then so be it. You know what I'm saying? If you gotta read the dictionary or something, like the children's dictionary, do something in order to increase your vocabulary. Do something in order that when you are in front of a mic, you not only embarrass yourself, but you're embarrassing the black race, period. Because that's how they judge us. And it's fucked up, but that's how society judges us. Or for one complete idiot that the news media knew they didn't have no business asking that goddamn question. You gonna ask a goddamn known drug addict that sip lean and try to justify that shit, called Lil Wayne, that's had seizures quite often and he damn near dead, and his dreads look like I'm holding on, but one day I'm just gonna fall out. You gonna ask this dude, I think he was on 60 Minutes or one of them a couple years back. You gonna ask this dude what Black Lives Matter to you? And you truly believe that this motherfucker was gonna say something like intelligent? He didn't surprise me. He said the dumbest shit on the planet. I don't give a damn about no Black Lives Matter. My hoes matter. I knew he was gonna say that. That was totally expected from this dude that sips lean and tries to justify it. So we just need to stop putting these mics in front of these dudes that really have little to no education and just really stopping them in their tracks and saying, hey, listen, rapping ain't for you right now. You definitely need to know your multiplications. You definitely need to know the next time I do an interview with you, what is 5 times 5? If you say 38, we all know that your ass should be on that short bus with a football helmet on so you won't hurt your head. Because there's something really mentally wrong with your ass. When you refuse to take your black ass back to school, knowing that you don't even know your multiplications, let alone your additions. That's crazy to me. Some of you all know how to count money, but you don't know math. Some of you all talk about how you are drug dealers and how you used to be out in the block. How is it that you are a drug dealer and you don't know math? It's two things that you have to be, based on my personal observation on, selling drugs. One is a chemist and two, a mathematician. If you can't do those two things, then, hey, when you start talking about you used to hustle and you used to move those keys and shit like that, I'm gonna call you a liar. You're capping. If you're not a chemist and a mathematician, you never was a drug dealer. Plain and simple. I'll tell that to you. And I've never sold crack. And I could honestly tell you that at the end of the day, I've seen it cooked up. I've seen people sell it. I've seen people do the math to, how many sales they got to make, et cetera, et cetera. I've seen them weigh it, all of that, on a scale, all of that. And my personal observation, I'm like, okay, all right, you got to be a chemist and a mathematician. If you're not good with numbers, Come on, man. Who you fooling? You damn for sure ain't fooling me. And I told you, I've never sold crack. So I'm the average dude. When you start moving numbers and shit like that, that's just like Foxy Brown got fucked over with that. Somebody wrote her rhymes and it was written. And somebody told me, a drug dealer told me that the whole shit that she ran down for as move this and cut this weight and at 300 and this and that, so forth, all that shit was wrong. So I'm telling you, there are some real drug dealers out there that know their math. Let me say this. Let me take this back. Let me say this. I'm dead ass serious. You know I'm dead ass serious when I close my eyes. I'm like, I'm dead ass serious. I'm serious. I've known a lot of drug dealers. I have befriended a lot of drug dealers. A lot. There have been times where I was out on the block selling bootleg movies and CDs, and right beside me, 3 drug dealers selling drugs. I've hung out with drug dealers. I've had highly intelligent conversations with drug dealers. Like, I didn't even know anything about tectonic plates. I learned that from a drug dealer. Because we was building this shit late at night, and I was selling bootleg. While we was doing it, I was selling bootleg movies and he was selling crack. And he was telling me about how tsunamis happen and how earthquakes happen. And he was like, yeah, the tectonic plates shift and they bang together and da-da-da-da. And I'm sitting here like, this nigga is fucking intelligent. But I've never met, me personally, I've never met a drug dealer ever in my life that was stupid. So I know for a fact, most of you rappers that talk about drugs and how many keys you sold and all that shit, is you capping. Cause my personal experience, I've been around real drug dealers and they intelligent. They really know how to talk. They are very articulate. They know how to speak. I don't see that coming from you. I just don't. So if the new young generation want to hate me for what I said, then so be it. Hate the truth. You gonna hate the truth? Say some shit in the comment section. I really want you to. I'm gonna put Pretty Ricky on you because you know, he's highly intelligent and he don't mind getting at you all. He don't. I'm gonna end it with this, right? So I'm gonna say 2 things. One is, I hate it when people say, man, you always mentioning Pretty Ricky, like you on his jock and this and that and so forth. So let me get this right. I can't talk good about my friend. You don't want to hear me talk positive about a black man, another black man? That's some negative shit. That's the first thing. The second thing is, Pretty Ricky told me, you know, like he may say things in my comment section. You know, excuse me, in the comment section of my videos, and I'm like, all right, you know, cool. You know, a lot of times I agree with him, sometimes I don't. You know what I'm saying? Most times I do. So he told me like he be in other people's shit, right? So I would go to like Vlad TV or fucking CNBC or some shit like that, and I would see his comments, and this should be hilarious. So please, I beg you, for all you young people, please leave something in the comment section so I can sick Pretty Ricky on you. Because I'm telling you, at the end of the day, yeah, you want to say we some quote-unquote old heads. I can guarantee you that we're smarter than you. We're definitely highly educated and smarter than you all. That plain and simple. Just off of the strength of the music that you listen to and the music that we listen to.